Art instruction time! Boop. Why is he wearing a hat inside? I'm bald and it's cold. I don't want the glare interfering with the video. Don't judge. So welcome. Once again, I am your host, Merk. Boop. With cahep. Boop. That's Community Arts and Heritage Education Project. Once again, this is in conjunction with the Cookhouse, which is a living assisted residence here in Northern Ontario. Every month we go in and do a project in person with the residents of the Cookhouse. We do that project with a different artist. It changes every month, doing different disciplines, different sort of approaches, different things, lots of fun. Then we make a video out of that and we create art kits to give to the people at the Cookhouse, so then they can take those art kits, look at this YouTube video, and do this project. Of course, this is also just on the internet, so anybody can access this. I will go over shortly all the supplies that you will need. This one's a little bit more intense than previous ones, but it can easily be, you can make do with replacing certain things with other things. It'll all make sense, trust me. So who is our artist this month? This is Miss Christine, who has a particular knack for this specific art form. What is this art form? This is paper quilling, or paper filigree, as it is called sometimes. A fastidious and patient approach to this art form really helps. What basically it is, you're taking very small strips of paper. These are 5mm strips, rolling them and shaping them into different shapes. And then gluing them very patiently onto paper or whatever you're having to use. And these particular, what we're going to make is greeting cards. But you can see that it takes a particular sort of patience. It is very deliberate work. So what we're going to go through first is the supplies. So let's head to the supply table. All right, these are the supplies you will have in your art kit. We'll walk through for those that do not have your these delivered art kits for what you can use at home, what is really key, and what you might be able to substitute in different things. You're going to get in the art kit a little plastic container with some tools and things in it. You're also going to get a manila envelope with a few things in it. Let's go through the envelope first. Miss Christine was nice enough to put together these like one that has tips and tricks, just some things to think about, just to give a heads up on certain ways of how this kind of goes. The other one has pictures of the specific rolls and just what they're called, what they look like. Super helpful. And then there's 3 different projects. There's like a blue flower, a different flower, another flower. I don't even know what they're called. Look at me. But has a picture of what each roll is, what the number of them that you're going to need, number of strips required, and the circle size. Don't worry, this will make sense as we go through. So that, very helpful. What else is in your manila envelope? You have a card. We're doing this on cards, remember? So you need some sort of blank greeting card. These particular ones, we bought the envelopes separate, and then this is watercolor paper. You can use cardstock paper. You need a heavier gauge sort of thing. You cannot use just regular printer paper. It is not heavy enough. When you put the glue on it, it'll buckle and warp. So avoid that. So this particular thing is watercolor paper. If you're going to use watercolor, cut it to the right size. Score it on the rougher side, because watercolor paper generally has like a rougher side and a smoother side. Score it on the rougher side, so then when you fold it, the smoother side is on the front, so then it's easier for that glue to take and hold your paper filigree. If you are also going to cut your own card as well, you'll notice You can see these cards are a little bit smaller than the envelope. There needs to be a size difference, because once you put your art on top of here, it raises off that page. So when you slide it into the envelope, if you've got a card that fits that envelope perfectly, there's not going to be enough room for the envelope to raise a little bit. So it won't fit. We have about, I don't know, it's like 1.5 centimeters-ish, to between 1 centimeter and 2 centimeters, somewhere in there. All around we have a border difference in size. So that, if you're using cardstock or watercolor paper and cutting your own, that's what you have to do. If you're buying cards, you can get the pre-bought like greeting cards. Generally they're cardstock. You can cut them a little bit so that they fit that properly. What else do we got? Cardboard. Exciting. This is basically just to put a little bit of glue on, so you'll be able to dab off the glue and put it onto the paper and then add it to your piece. Circle sizer. Here's one of the specific tools. There are a few tools that are pretty specific, some of which you would require, some of which you might be able to get away with not using. This particular one, you can get them at art stores or like office supply stores. They're pretty inexpensive. Basically what she'll use them for is she'll roll it up, and then she puts it into specific size, and she'll reference that through the video so that it holds the size for a second while she gets her tweezers, gets that, picks it up properly, and then gets the glue, and then puts that together. So it's like an in-between stage between rolling it and being able to glue it and have it hold its shape. So this probably recommended to use. It would be helpful, but you can probably get away with not using it if need be. But then that just means it gets a little more finicky of like rolling it and then holding the roll while you get either the tweezers to hold it, or holding it in your fingers, getting the glue and putting the glue on that. So you'll be able to see as she goes through the video whether you want to get this sort of thing. It is helpful. So I realized after I had recorded that part of the video that circle sizer is actually a key tool. It's not just for holding that coiled piece of paper in place, but really it's for having it unfold to a certain particular size. So you can have large petals, you can have tight coils, you can have medium-sized leaves, whatever. So contrary to what I just said, you will probably need that sort of tool. One thing she did suggest, that if you're using this, you'll see that obviously it's kind of see-through. There's some numbers on it. It's got a ruler on here, and each one of them has a size number corresponding to the circle. I'm looking at it right now. It would be hard to see in this video, but this is right side up, so I can read the numbers properly. She is suggesting to flip that over and use the opposite side, because when it's right side up, these are slightly rounded edges around those circles. So if you put that rolled piece of paper in there, it wants to expand, and if it's got that rolled edge, it might be able to pop out easier. So if you flip it upside down, you've got a slightly more like 90-degree edge on that circle. It'll hold that circle a little bit easier. So tips and tricks. Last, but definitely not least, in the manila envelope are your paper strips. Look at those, beautiful. These are all 5mm strips. These like in width, but these are what, 21 inches long. And yes, I know I'm mixing up metric and imperial. That's how my brain works. What is going to be in your kits for the people at the cookhouse? You're going to have multiple colors. I've just thrown 3 colors together. We're putting together flowers, so there's green for the base, or you can use whatever you want for the base. It can be a purple base for all that matters. But for sake of example, you have your green for the stem and the leaves, and then you have 2 colors for the flower itself. We're going to throw those in plus extra colors, and there'll be more than enough of each one of those. You can make multiples of them. There's only going to be 1 card to do that on, but if you want to play with it a bit more, those will be in there. What's in this, you might ask? This is a lovely container. Inside these, when open, you have glue. You just need a small glue container or a glue bottle, it's really, you're not going to be using a lot of this. It's very tiny drops that we put onto the cardboard and then just easily and very gently putting it onto the paper. So really, you don't need a gigantic bottle, but use whatever you got. And the white glue tends to work quite well. Anything that glues or anything that dries see-through. What else is in here? Scissors. So these are in your kit's 4-inch to 4.5-inch sewing scissors. For those without the kits, you might be able to get away with not even utilizing these sort of scissors. If you've got the smaller sort of scissors, whatever small sort of scissors with pointy tips tends to work better. You'll notice, I think, in this particular video of what she's doing, she probably doesn't even use these. But as you go, if you want to go further with paper quilling, you will require some sort of scissors to trim and do fun little things with. So there's that. Tweezers. These particular tweezers that are in the kit are just straight up tweezers. They have a bit of a point to them, like a slanted edge. Straight up tweezers. Nothing super fancy. You'll notice that Miss Christine has very specialized tweezers that I was not able to get to go into the art kits, but these should work fine. The ones she has it goes to this edge, but then it's got a little bit that pokes down, so then you can, and it's a thin little metal piece on each part of the tweezer that you can insert into the circles once you've made the circle strips, and then pick it up. You'll be able to see it in the video quite easily. But these should be fine to use. Also in here, Q-tips and toothpicks. Pretty straight up things. Most people have these in their homes or have easy access to them. That's good when you're dealing with the glue. So you can take some glue with the toothpick and put it onto the thing, or you can utilize the Q-tips to dab a little bit off if you've got a little bit of an excess. Two specific tools that are in this kit this is called a paper awl, AWL. It's or a pointy, stabby. Don't stabby. Don't do that. These are, it's a little needle thing that you'll notice in the tool. Miss Christine will dip the needle point into the glue, and she'll use this to dab the glue on. That's you could probably substitute the toothpick for that, so we've included them in there as well. But for those not with the kits, that's what you could probably use. So you could probably get away with not getting one of these. This is the most specific tool that is in this kit and that you might need to get. This is a slotted tool. It's too small to be able to see on this video, but there is a little bit, there's a slot there. So it's basically taking that paper, and if I can do this, slotting it in. So you can see that it holds it. There's just a slot in that, and that's where you begin with the paper and then just start to roll. And that's how you make the rolls. I'm not sure how you could easily substitute a different tool. A lot of the other ones you might be able to get away with not using or using something different. This is pretty specific, so I'm not sure how else you could use something else. Rounding out the package that you're getting in your art kit, you also, Miss Christine was nice enough to put together some rolls. These are pre-made rolls for you so that you can practice and do some things with. Basically, you're going to see that by pinching and manipulating them, you can create different shapes. You can create like a little leaf shape or a teardrop shape or a marquee shape by pinching and manipulating in different ways. So those are ways to practice without having to like make your own rolls and then goof around with those rolls. She's got some that you can play around with to start with. So that completes the art kit. So you'll be able to see, for those with kits, that's what you're getting. Those who are just looking to learn how to do paper quilling, that's where to start. All right, let's go to Miss Christine, and she'll begin with your lesson.
So first thing, we're gonna learn how to do some of these shapes, and I'll show you how to put them together for a card. We're gonna start with the strips. These ones are approximately 53 centimeters long. So each of these little petals is gonna be one strip. So I'm gonna hold my strip so it's a little bit overhanging, and I'm gonna kind of just curl until I find the slot, and it's an easy way to get it in there without having to try to stare at it. Now I'm holding it with one finger here and my thumb here. To keep it a little bit in place, I'm just twisting all the way up.
And you're really not pressing on it hard.
No, I'm just holding it in place. I'm going to slowly take it off carefully because sometimes it likes to grab it and then it'll pull it out. So I'm going to put it in my number 15 slot on the circle template. I've got this upside down, otherwise the shapes tend to pop out. And if you're having any trouble, just hold it down while you jiggle it to keep it from moving out while you get it centered. I'm going to pick it up with one end of the tweezer in the middle and one end on the outside so that it picks up the whole shape. And some people can glue it from here. I'm not good at that.
So you have your little glue dispenser here. You guys have slightly different glue, but it's the same basic idea, and you're just dispensing a little bit of extra glue.
A little bit of glue, a tiny bit, and I'm gonna even take some of that off and put a tiny wee bit of glue down, and then I'm gonna press it on and hold it in place just for a couple seconds, give it time to set. Now with this shape, I'm going to hold it between my my thumb and my forefinger, and I'm going to give it a squeeze, and there is my teardrop shape for the petals. So I'm going to do 5 of those.
So you're making 5 of these, rolling, same basic procedure. For those at home, this will obviously take a little bit longer. This might be cut to shorten the length of the video, but it's basically making 5 of these. You can just pause the video, put them together, and then restart. There we go, we got another one of these guys.
And it doesn't matter if it goes up or down a little bit, you can flatten it out at the end.
Right. 2, 3, 4, 5.
So next I'm going to do the center of the flower. It's the same idea. I'm using one full strip again. This shape that we're making is called a tight coil. And I'm just rolling it around the same way that I did for the teardrops. And if I want, I can just tighten a little bit as I go. Before I take it off, I'm going to hold it here, and I've got a little end coming off. I'm just going to glue it right now.
Because it's just easier when you have it that tight, I guess.
Right, and it's also just one less step, right?
Right.
Hold it in place. Slowly. It's good to if you can, sometimes I'll use tweezers to pull it off so it doesn't drag the whole thing apart on me.
Right, pull the middle out.
Yep. And then I'll just press it down to make it flat because I like it. So the next shape we're going to do is a curved marquee, and we're going to make a couple of leaves out of them. Same idea, just curling it up on your slotted tool. Number 15 on your circle sizer. So this is good that this happened so I can show you. If you're having trouble getting it to move out into the size of the template, I stick this in here, my little awl,
Your little pick tool.
my little pokey, and I just go around in the little circles and it'll follow itself along, and then it'll loosen it up, and then it's more likely to want to move. And I'll just keep doing that until I get the result that I want, because somewhere it's just a little bit stuck. Then I'm going to pick it up the same way. Again, that's in the middle and the outside, so it picks up the whole thing. Dab of glue. And I'm going to hold it in place for a moment. Give it a chance to set. For this shape, I'm going to use 2 fingers on each hand. They're going to be at the ends, as if I'm going to just make a marquee or an eye shape. So I'm going to press it a little bit to get it going and pinch it a tiny bit at the end. Then I'm going to rock it. So this thumb is going to go inward here. This finger is going to go inward here and rock it together and curve it, and it'll make that lovely shape. So we'll do that again.
Because we're making 2 of them for that. So here's the second one.
In your kit are also some just random circles to practice doing the shapes, so you don't have to use your pretty colors on them. Oh, popping out. Again, I'm going to hold it so that it's at the sides, give it a little pinch. And I'm going to rock this finger inward, this finger inward and inward, and rock it in on itself. Okay. So this is half a strip again, and I'm going to fold it in half so it's quartered. And I'm just gonna put a little dab of glue. This is gonna be the stem, and it's called on edge gluing. I just find this way easier to do with an extra layer. So when it glues, it might glue apart or it might glue together. You have a little bit of manipulation of how you use it. It's up to you how you like it, and a bit of practice to get it the way you want. And that's the stem.
All right, so you've got your card now, and then you're assembling kind of how you want it situated on the card.
It's important to do this first because if you find you didn't like it, it's already glued.
Yeah.
It's hard to change. Okay. Ish, right? So what I'm gonna do is we need a bigger blob of glue on our cardboard or glue mat, whatever we're using. I'm gonna hold this down because it wants to pop, and then my pieces go flying. So I'm gonna pick up one piece at a time, and I'm just gonna lightly drag it across the glue as light as I can, and then tap it off all the excess. I'm gonna place it where I want it, hold it down and let go, and then just press it, and then it's glued in place. So we repeat that for the other petals. And once again, we're picking up from the middle and the outside, so our shape stays together.
And once again, you're gonna go at your own speed with this project, so if you need to pause at any point, just pause the video, get it how you want it, and then you can resume.
Do a coffee run.
Yeah, do a coffee run. Have a nap. Whatever you need to do.
Okay. Center. Next, I'm going to glue on the stem. So I'm going to kind of decide where I want it and if it's the right length. See, that's pretty long, so I'm going to shorten it a little. Unless, yeah, I'll just do it here. Maybe cut it off a little bit. And then glue this other end back together.
So this paper is thin enough that you see that she just tore that off. If you want to use scissors, you can use scissors. However you want to do it.
Okay, so for this piece, I'm going to take a little more care to drag it really lightly through. Just barely touching the surface of the glue. And I'm going to shape it as I go. So I want a little bit of a curve in it. I'm going to do that. And I've got my fingers on both edges of the tweezer, on both sides of the tweezer. And I'm going to gently press it down. And there you have your stem. Could have left it longer, see? Now we'll do the little curved marquee petals. Let's stick this one here. Oh. So one thing I often do is, if I'm not paying attention, I put my tweezer too far down, and then it's interfering with what I'm getting glue on. There we go, pretty little flower. So next we're going to do this curved little petal here. So I'm going to use 1/4 of the size of the strips that you're given. And we're going to do the same thing. Easy breezy. And I'm going to put this one in the number 9 on the circle template. A little bit of glue. Now I'm going to make the same teardrop, but I'm going to curl it a little bit. So I'm going to squeeze here, and I'm going to rock it with this finger towards my thumb. Little curve. That's that variation of the leaf. So for this tiny little leafy thing, it's going to be another petal shape, much smaller, using 1/4 of a strip again. And we're going to use the number 9 template again. Just forming the petal shape again. Just a little bit of pressure. Squeeze it. And I have our little tiny one. Oh, you could use 1/8 of that if you want that tiny size.
Yep, you can go even smaller.
Yep. This is the same tight coil, but it's just using 1/2 strip instead of a whole strip, like the center of the other flowers.
Right, so it's like the center, the yellow one that you did there, but instead of using a full strip,
we're using 1/2.
Right. So that made, make those extra bits on there.
Right.
And change the shape up.
And I'm just going to show you how to do a couple of these little filigrees.
Okay.
So these are 1/2 strip each. That's 1/4. And I'm just going to roll it up again. And again, I'm going to show you this again. Putting it a little overhang, holding it, and just rocking it until it finds the slot. Okay. And I'm going to roll it up, but I'm not going to roll the whole thing. I'm going to take it off and just let it go and do what it does.
Okay.
Then I'm going to soften the strip a little bit so that it curves, so it has a bit of a curl to it.
So that was just running your fingers over it.
Yeah, so I'm just taking my nail or my finger and giving it a little bit of a curl, and I kind of like this going the other way. So, same idea. Just do whatever you like with it until you get it.
Get it in the direction and the size you want.
Yep. And then I'll show you how to glue this as well. So it's the same idea. Another blob of glue. Once again, I'm going to hold it in the middle and the outside with the tweezer. I'm going to slightly drag it in the glue, and I'm going to drag this as well, as light as you can. Just make sure it's making contact all the way along. Oh, making a mess. There we go.
And then a little bit on the page, and then back here.
And then I'm gonna just find whatever position I think I like and hold it down in every point of contact if it wants to pop up. And there you go. So here are some examples of different cards that you can make using the same shapes. And I really like this one. It's a great example of how it doesn't have to be perfect to still be lovely. I super love this one.
And that's the thing. It's like each individual thing is going to be individual to you, and then you can play and put it together differently. It's like looser, tighter, larger coils, smaller coils, coil differently, different kind of leaves. You can take some of those things, the same things you've been teaching, and just put them in different places, and then they make whole new pieces of art.
Completely different, yeah.
Lovely. All right, that wraps up that project. Thank you so much to Miss Christine for imparting all that knowledge. It is a very finicky kind of thing, so it's really great to have somebody that really knows what they're doing to walk you through those steps. Thank you so much for sharing all that and being so helpful with everything that we did this month with this project. Thank you also to Hannah and everybody at the Cookhouse, all the residents, all the people that work there. As always, super welcoming and just a joy to be a part of. Thank you for letting us into your home to make some art, because it's what we love to do. Thank you to all of you who are listening and watching. You know the drill. Like, subscribe, blah, 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 blah. Comment if you got some questions. If you want to see specific sort of art instruction, just write in the comments and let us know. Thank you. Check out cahep.ca. Check out what we do, and we'll see you next time.